Your last day of vacation and you found time for a deep tissue massage followed by a long mud bath, then a 2-hour nap. Because you're an American Express Platinum Card member and booked your stay at a fine hotel and resort through Amex Travel, which means a 4 p.m. checkout. And those relaxing vacation vibes can keep going at the airport in the Centurion Lounge.
Just a splash.
Before you board the plane, back to reality. That's the powerful backing of American Express. See how to elevate your travel experiences at americanexpress.com/withAmex. Terms apply.
Professional welder Shayna Ford used VR training developed by ForgeFX to hone her skills as a welder.
The more time that you spend practicing it, that's what separates a good welder from a great welder.
VR training can help students like Shayna repeatedly practice specific skills.
Virtual reality definitely helps because the more muscle memory that you have, the smoother your weld is.
Explore more stories like Shayna's at meta.com/metaverseimpact.
If debit is your go-to card, Discover thinks it's time you get rewarded too. So, check out Discover Cashback Debit, a game-changing checking account with cash back on everyday debit card purchases. That's right, cashback isn't just for credit cards anymore. Whether it's a movie date, flea market find, or midday latte, you can start earning cash back. And did I mention there are no fees, period? Check out transaction eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens? Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens?
Hi everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of a 2-part recap. If you're wondering where part 1 was, well, go check in the feed and be sure to subscribe.
Chris Andy.
We heard that their getaway driver was someone named Ross, I believe.
So
By the way,
Andy's
I don't
like-
believe that Dorit ever goes into Marshall's. Okay, I don't think so.
Dorit's so full of shit here, trying to say she was at a discount store and she was targeted by Ben, who followed her. And notice that she said when we watched it back on video, because she's insinuating again that they have this all on video of somebody doing this, because that's Dorit and PK's thing to say on video.
Who is bringing $10,000 of cash into Marshall's and not keeping an eye on it? I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. Last season, when all this stuff with Dorit happened, it's like, okay, I'm not going to come for Dorit because who knows, that probably did really happen. That is happening in LA. Even though it was like her third one that this had kind of happened, it was still like, okay, let's have it. But at this point, Dorit, the $10,000, that was a $10,000 cherry on top of the sundae. And I love it that they didn't pussyfoot around it at this reunion and gave her shit for it, because it's officially fucking ridiculous. And if the producers of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills are going to call you out on it, you know it's ridiculous, because they let their cast get away with everything on this show.
Yeah. But by the way, I still don't understand her story. So she said that she was going to do the Christmas bonuses, and she remembered seeing box cards.
I think she was saying,
what does that mean?
Well, I took it as her saying, I can't just hand them cash, but I remember seeing cards, like a box of cards at TJ Maxx, Marshall. So I thought, I'll put these in a card. So I went there to get the cards. So then I took the money in with me. I guess you don't leave 10 grand in your car, especially at Marshall's. But also, is there a Marshall's over there? Where was she? Isn't the only Marshall? I'm trying to remember where the Marshall's is over there. Isn't that all the way in Burbank? She was not in Burbank.
Doesn't she live in Encino? I'm sure there's a Marshall's.
Is there a Marshall's at the Beverly Center? Where is there a Marshall's?
There's across from the Beverly Center at the Beverly Connection.
Right. Okay. So it's
Beverly Connection has all of them.
Okay.
It has TJ Maxx.
Yeah. God, I love that place.
Target,
I'm always at the
Target.
best. La Salsa. I'm at the Beverly Connection half my life.
Beverly Connection is really where it's all. But it has a very confusing parking lot, and God save you if you are behind someone who's confused, and that happens all the time because you have to go down, you have to go up, you have to.
But their Ross is good. It's worth it.
They have a great Ross. They have a Baja Fresh. It's really great.
The Baja Fresh, yeah, not the La Salsa. You're right.
I know what you meant. Yeah. But there was also there's something else there that's really good. I don't remember, but they've got everything at Saks.
Not Jamba Juice. How is that place still alive? Ugh. Jamba Juice still.
Well, now they're Jamba. They're just Jamba.
Oh, wow. They
had a rebrand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dorit's story doesn't make a lot of sense. So she goes in there Supposedly, she has video of these guys following her around, and she didn't notice that her expensive purse and $10,000 were gone until she got to the register. That's fishy as well, because it's a giant purse sitting right in the part of the shopping cart, where you put babies. So anyway, fishy, right? So Andy's like, yeah, well, fans weren't the only ones questioning details. Garcelle made a snarky comment about your robbery being fake, and everybody was so mad about it. So Garcelle's like, okay, well, I didn't say your robbery didn't happen, which you did kind of imply it. So whatever. And Dorit's like, well, to suggest that I went through a mother's worst nightmare. Your child's becoming a musical theater person? No, the other one.
My child having to be subjected to Sutton's drunken rants, not saying she's an alcoholic. So Garcelle's like, no, I didn't say it didn't happen. I mean, my take of it was that Garcelle was saying that the robbery was planned, So,
yeah, that it was a fake robbery.
Right. Well, it was a real robbery, but there was PK was behind it because he was doing some
yeah, that's a theory
scam.
that PK really set it up to get the creditors off his ass, or
Something
the
like
Bellagio or whoever.
Yeah.
And it just went bad or something.
Well, I believe you were robbed. But I just thought there were a few things that were a little off. That's all. That's what I'm saying. Just some strange things. Like what? She's like, well, your ring. Your ring was still there. Just, let me tell you something. The children and I had just flown in from London, practicing getting cream pies in the face for a Pantone. And 24 hours prior that happened. And the things that I had traveled with, including my rings, were not in the place that they are normally. They were in a Marshall cart that I had in the dining room.
Unfortunately, the rings I had in my suitcase were being carried by 3 men who targeted me in the living room, while the 3 men who targeted me for this robbery were in the bedroom. You see? Very different targeting of rooms. Different targeters in different rooms. You go to Target too? Quiet, Andy.
It is a funny story. When we did see those gentlemen stealing the $10,000 out of my Marshall's cart, I just begged them, please, when you leave, just leave the Cuisinart saucepan I had selected by the chili sign in the parking lot. And they did. They did.
We see. Okay, so then she's like, what else? What else? Now I've dispelled that rumor handily, which, by the way, also sounds really fishy. So the burglars came, but the jewelry, like your wedding ring, where were they? Why would they be somewhere different? Were they in your luggage? Is that what you're saying? Why is your luggage not unpacked? And if it wasn't unpacked, then wouldn't they see it sitting there and go through your luggage? I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. It sounds sus.
Yeah. So Garcelle's like, she's like, you do know that I had a gun to my head and the guys were trying to kill me. And she's like, okay, all right. Let me finish, please. Garcelle's like, no, I know the story. No. Allow me to finish so I can tell you why the robber would be so kind. So she says the whole thing about how she pled that her, can I just want to call my husband and everything. And Garcelle's kind of like, okay, like whatever, I give up. Just it's fine.
Right, because basically Dorit's pressuring her to keep saying why this robbery is fake, but nothing Dorit says is really making it sound not fake, honestly. I mean, I believed it the whole year, pretty much last year, but now I'm like, oh, these answers aren't great. And Dorit's saying, well, now the reason they were so kind to me is because I begged for my life. Well, killers and robbers don't really care normally. So I guess that's Garcelle's point. But like you said, Garcelle knows enough to know that this is not a good look to be questioning it. Even though I guess I just did. I don't really care.
You're like, I'll do it.
I mean, yeah. So I guess she can see that this is a no-win battle. And so she's like, well, I mean, I just don't think that would happen. I mean, it's rare, at least. I mean, am I wrong, anybody? And Erica's like, but it's not impossible. Of course, Erica's going to answer. She's been robbed 15 times for insurance, at least, at her house. Like, she was constantly being robbed over there. So, of course, Erica's going to be on the robbed side of this one.
Well, and also they're trackers on phones, so maybe that's the other reason why they did it. And Garcelle's like, sure. It's just that Garcelle, what's crazy is that you go onto national television to peddle a false narrative. And Garcelle's like, What national? You mean Bravo? Bravo? I was on network.
This is just reality.
Some of us were on the WB.
I mean, some of us know Eddie Murphy, so.
Some of us are booking movie roles and winning awards.
So she goes, oh, on our show, I see. Okay, well, look, I have opinions, and I gave my opinion. I mean, sorry, it doesn't change your world in any way. And Dorit's like, of course it does. That is a very, very strong thing to say. And you looking away like it's nothing says a lot about you, Garcelle. It says that she doesn't fucking believe your story. Now, is it shitty? Yes, actually. And when Garcelle was doing that on camera, I was like, oh my God, that's pretty harsh to like insinuate that this is a fake robbery. But I also loved it because I love that Garcelle does not give a fuck what they're going to say about her, and she cannot be guilted. Dorit's like, how dare you? This is a lot. And Garcelle's like, okay, sorry. She goes, thank you. Thank you so much for your heartfelt apology, Garcelle. She's like,
That's all I wanted. So, it's all I wanted. So Andy's like, all right, I want to move on. Sutton also caused quite a stir when she mentioned that she heard a rumor that PK had another woman in his car when he was pulled over for the DUI. Yeah, I'd like to hear, where did you hear about that, Sutton? She goes, well, and he's like, yeah, where did you hear that? She goes, the streets. The streets told me.
They're like, oh God, what streets? Erica's like, the main streets of Beverly Hills. She heard it on the blogs where everybody else heard it because that's what was being reported at the time.
Yeah.
Social media.
I think we all know who was in the front seat of the car with PK.
Social.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Billy. They're like, will you do a breathalyzer, ma'am? Take my breath away. No, into this.
Take my breathalyzer away.
It's like, don't offer your breath to the police, Berlin. God damn it.
This turns out all these years the song's been about a field test.
Breathalyzer test. When she gets to that part of doing the alphabet backwards, I love that. It's like the bridge. She's like, Z-Y-X-W-V-U.
Watching in slow motion as I drop my car into a stop sign.
Touch my nose and kick.
I was just walking my dog, Archie.
So literally nobody cares because if PK wasn't in the car with that lady while he was getting his test, everyone knows PK's probably in the car with some lady all the time. Like, I don't think anybody would be shocked if PK was caught running around on Dorit. It's PK, for fuck's sake. If anybody was shocked, it would just be that he had the boner to do it.
Or the person with the low standards to be there in the car
or the person desperate enough to be in that car in the first place. You're right.
I mean, everyone has their own kink.
Yes.
But PK is a...
Pasty. There are people with a pasty kink out there.
Pasty, someone, like my kink is a pasty man transitioning from diabetes number 2 to diabetes number 3.
I want a man that looks like overwatered dough. It happens.
It does. It's sticky. It's tacky. It's sticky and tacky.
So then Sutton's like, okay, well, I did get a spanking for that. And she's like, well, who from? She's like, PK. He gave me a spanking. So then we see a PK tweet, and it says, Sutton struck. I've never, ever once said one bad word about you. So why would you make up blatant lies to boost your career and then double down is why you're single? You ain't no Dorit love. Excuse you? To boost your career and then double down is why you're single? This is why PK's gross. Never forget that PK's a fucking pig. Okay?
Right. Yeah, never forget. Never forget.
And also, the only reason you're not single is because you were rich enough to bag a young idiot bikini designer while you were already married, you fucking pig. You're disgusting, PK.
Yeah, but you know what? He's also a visionary. Beverly Beach, babe. Beverly Beach.
Beverly Beach.
So she's like, it's just really mean-spirited, ugly comments. Ugly comments. And Andy's like, well, she said something about you in the similar vein that annoyed you. And Sutton's like, oh, yeah, well, I think the vodka and coffee thing was pretty mean-spirited, too. Yeah, don't forget that, Dorit.
Oh, well, all I said was I don't know if she's the type to drink coffee without vodka in it. Big deal.
She loves the flavor combination. Not saying she's an alcoholic.
So then PK was probably from in the car with some hoe, says, Dorit, you didn't get a prenup, did you? So would you even get anything out of a divorce? And she goes, excuse me, I met my husband when he was bankrupt.
Oh, morally bankrupt. So Andy's like, he's like, okay, so the answer is no, there's no prenup. And speaking of marital finances, Kyle, in Spain, you said you never read the paperwork that Mauricio gives you before you sign it. Do you know my friend Teresa Giudice? Ha, ha, ha. She went to jail. Ha. Denver, Connecticut.
So, and then married a guy without a prenup who's probably spent all of her money by now, by the way. So then Kyle's like, I grew up with a mom that told me never to trust a man, and to read everything, little thing. But, it's just so hard reading, So, yeah, I just sign things that Mauricio tells me all the time. So I read a comment that I thought was really interesting. This is not my theory, but I like it. I think I'm going to adopt it. Which is that Kyle, one of the reasons for the marital strife might be some kind of a terrible business issue because Mauricio's always, he's gotten in trouble a couple of times with the real estate company. And Kyle is just trying to make it public that I don't sign I don't read anything that I sign, which I thought was interesting.
So she's building her case of plausible deniability or whatever.
Right.
I didn't even know.
Because what I read about Kyle was that she, and also don't know if this is true, it's just something I read from Sishal, but I also read that Kyle was part owner of the agency, that it wasn't just Mauricio's company, that she's on that, the board or ownership or whatever too. So it's not like she would really even need a prenup. So it's interesting that she's like, what? Paperwork?
That's an interesting theory. Well, if that happens, everyone bookmark this episode that we've done, episode number 45,000, and the time is 1 hour, 16 minutes in. And Ronnie, well, actually, someone else called it, but we'll say that you called it. You're going to co-sign it, and you're going to give that conspiracy theory a platform right now. I think, it could happen. Crazier things have happened.
I don't co-sign it necessarily. I love the theory, and I would love if it were true, because you know what? But Kyle would probably even make that boring, honestly.
I know. The most boring Bravo fraud case.
It's finally, the audience is officially over people going to jail because Kyle made it boring,
Hey, guys, okay, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail, guys. Everyone's like, don't really care anymore.
Let's cut to court and get Kyle's defense to the judge. Let's get this right now. And here we are. You're mean. The end. Okay, so then let's see. So Erica's like, okay, well, listen, it's okay to trust your partner. And Andy's like, I don't think you should be the poster child for that statement. She goes, okay, well, that's true. I'm not the poster child for any of this shit.
All right, well, moving on to your anniversary, Julia Roberts herself. Julia Roberts was on Watch What Happens Live. I just want everyone to know that I'm basically friends with Julia Roberts now, and the pretty woman herself. And she said, why are you making me watch this show? I don't understand it. I'm an actress. She threw a vase at my head. And then I said, please, you have to do this. You're trying to promote something. And she goes, fine, I am an actress. I can pretend like I watched the stupid shit you peddle on your quote-unquote network that's not really national. All right. And she said...
That's not really national. I love that Julia Roberts thinks it's just public access.
No, in my mind, Julia Roberts is like, what is this? What is this? What is public? This something? Did my brother start this show?
That was a funny clip, though, because he's like, so... what did you think when PK made a pretty woman scene for Dorit? And she's like, I just totally blocked that out until right now. It's like, really? And she goes, yeah. She's like, guess I have to think of that again.
Well, let's see. What did I think? I thought, well, here's a bastardization of one of my most famous and iconic moments, and I'm glad to watch two pieces of meatloaf recreate it with no sexual chemistry. So that was my first thought, I guess.
Yeah, and Julia's like, well, the only thing that would have made it work is if he actually gave her that necklace as a gift. Hold on, let me just laugh because it's my trademark. She just opens her mouth. Rainbows start to come out. Puppies just start flying out of her mouth. Her gigantic mouth.
Listen, Andy, I'm just a girl sitting in front of a strange TV show host asking him to stop making me watch this show. That's it. Let me promote my disaster movie on Netflix and be on with my life.
Oh, jeez.
Something fell over.
Yeah, my phone, because I was checking my phone.
Well, I did say disaster movie, and you're like, oh, no. And so, like, you were acting it out. You're like, I'm at the Julia Roberts disaster movie.
iPhones beating people on the head. So Julie goes, well, you understand that it was playing on the movie, right? And Andy's like, yeah, I get it. Jesus. I love that she says it's mirroring the movie. Yeah. I remember that part in Pretty Woman when Richard Gere hooks all that stuff up for Julia Roberts, and then Julia Roberts enters bitching about everything and like saying that she needs the proper, what was she asking for? The proper spray tan or the eyeshadow or something, where she's like, where's my eyeliner, Peaky?
Beverly Beach bronzer.
Yeah, the bronzer.
Yeah, no, my favorite part about Pretty Woman was when Richard Gere was like, Vivian, I think I'm falling in love with you. And I want you to go to a polo match, even better. I want you to play a mermaid in a production of Peter Pan on ice in England where you sing My Heart Will Go On and someone puts a cream pie in your face. Are you down?
Yeah. So then PK traveling and not being present, like your marriage sucks too, Dorit. You know, like I'm sorry that this was supposed to be the season we all gave a shit about your terrible marriage, and Kyle stole that from you. So would you like to talk about that? She's like, oh my God, after we wrapped, things got way worse for PK and I, mostly because we'd wrapped and TMZ caught it. And it was quite embarrassing, and I would like to apologize everybody out there for rapping. It was not my best moment, but it's not every day you get robbed in a Marshall's. You know what I'm saying?
As I walk through the valley, as I walk in the shadows in the valley of Marshalls, I take a look at my cart and see there was nothing left.
Pass that clutch! Pass that clutch! Pass that clutch!
I'm Slim Dorit. Well, that's really all I got in that one.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
As a professional welder, Shayna Ford uses Forge FX to practice over and over, which helps her improve her skills.
The more muscle memory that you have, the smoother your weld is.
Learn more at meta.com/metaverseimpact.
Hey grown-ups, the Cat in the Hat Cast is a new podcast from Wondery, perfect for the whole family. Join the Cat in the Hat and your favorite Dr. Seuss characters as they get whisked away on a new adventure every week. Fish dreams of creating his very own polite and quiet podcast. That is, until he gets a surprise visit to his Fishbowl podcast studio from the Cat in the Hat himself, and it becomes very clear that the cat has other plans for the podcast. And those plans are the opposite of quiet. Sing along to new favorite songs, try your luck at Titanic tongue twisters, have some fun with wondrous wordplay, and most importantly, bring your family along for all of the adventures in the Cat in the Hat Cast. Follow the Cat in the Hat Cast on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to the Cat in the Hat Cast early and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Wondery Kids Plus on Apple Podcasts today.
So basically, she's saying it got really bad between them, and he went to stay with Boy George for a while. And she's like, and we had 2 little children at home. And he's like, okay, so you were living separate lives. No, it wasn't separate lives. It was living in separate places. But, you know, all your belongings are still together. And Andy's like, okay, semantics. How dare you, Andy? How dare you? Words have weight. And Garcelle's like, oh, now words have weight, huh? Well,
I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify. Yes, I was being a hypocrite. But I want to clarify that when PK was staying with Boy, it wasn't that we were separated. He was still living with me. He just happened to be chained to Boy's radiator for a few weeks. So that's why we were apart.
It was the first non-twink to ever be chained. The PK was so honored.
To be fair, Boy did not actually tie him to the radiator. PK did it as some sort of protest. Apparently, he insisted that there be more bugles nearby. So I'm not leaving this apartment until you get me some
Boy
bugles.
told PK that the radiator was a box of Lays. PK chained himself to it immediately.
It's, like when you see the people from Harry Winston coming in with their suitcases handcuffed to their hands. That's just what PK was doing. He was trying to escort the radiator that he thought were potato chips.
So then he's like, okay, so your marriage sucks still. She goes, well, he quit drinking, Andy, which is, helped everything, actually. Really? Because when Kyle quit drinking, you said it's because she's cheating on her husband, and now you're unironically mentioning that your husband quit drinking. I mean, she didn't say it was for Morgan, but she insinuated that she quit drinking for Morgan. So, I don't know.
Well,
interesting.
Once
Look
again,
into that.
another blow to Leah McSweety's lawsuit. Another person falls into sobriety on Bravo. God, the way this network pressures people. So, so they're better than ever. And, it's just been a pivotal moment for them. And he's like, that's great. He's like, well, you opened up to Kyle a few times about your problems in your marriage, but looking back, how did it make you feel that she didn't seem to trust you enough to share what she was going through? Andy, it hurts me, like after the reunion, Coyle and I hadn't spoken for a good couple of months, and I was going through my own things preparing my next season's arc when I saw her Instagram, and, well, there's no pictures of Mauricio. Mauricio's nowhere. No mo. How about that? Rapping.
Which, actually, I'm going to write that down. That's a new rap tune.
Okay. Well, I knew something was going on, and I said, we have to pray just to make it today. Rap. Hashtag rap. I said their marriage is too legit to quit. Hey.
So she's like, oh, I knew something was going on, but to not be told by Kyle, my friend Coyle. And Kyle's like, well, I mean, I thought we were close enough that you could, just call me. And she's like, but I did. You ignored me, Kyle. Kyle's such an asshole. Kyle just totally dumped this girl. Now, listen.
Totally did.
Would I dump Dorit? Of course. Dorit's a twit, okay? But you can't expect somebody to just come on and kiss your ass for year after year and then just dump them. It's not cool, Kyle.
I think the running theme here is that people on this show do things and they expect there to be no consequences whatsoever. And there's always consequences.
Yeah. So Kyle, of course, turns it into guilting Dorit for not calling her, right? Which saying, instead of waiting until there was some camera in my car, and she's like, well, Coyle, listen, you were trying to avoid me. And she's like, I wasn't trying to avoid you. I've just said, learn to exercise. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe I haven't been vocal enough, but I thought that the sound of my voicemail would be vocal enough.
I like Kyle complaining about the insincerity of, you want to have a conversation. You wanted to wait until there was a camera in my face to have this conversation. And meanwhile, she's trotting out all her daughters to sit on a sofa while she displays their pain on national TV for us.
Do you see? Well, yeah. Also saying, I wasn't trying to avoid you, maybe I haven't been vocal enough. I just haven't wanted to be friends with you. So you have been avoiding her until you guys got on camera. So what's the difference, And so Dorit's like, I did try to call you. And she's saying, well, but when I'm struggling, I just I pull back, I retreat. I just need to be alone. But that's the point. You weren't alone. You were on vacations with people that you were posting all over Instagram. So
And Dorit's like, but you weren't completely by yourself. She's well, because I mean, like, well, you were looking at my Instagram. See, I was struggling, and Dorit's like, no, but our husbands are very close, and I know, like, I know if you're going on trips or anything, I know what you're doing. And Kyle's like, so you're saying I wasn't struggling? You're saying I wasn't struggling? I'm saying no, you weren't alone. She goes, no, well, when I say I'm like pulled back and I'm alone, it doesn't mean that like I'm sitting in the dark, like I'm not blacked out in a black room. I'm just like in a cell of some sort. It just means I'm just not putting myself out there with people and I'm in, like I'm just like alone, but like with people, but like alone, but with people. Basically, like, she's just like saying, no, I receded from the world emotionally, but I was with other people, yada, yada, yada.
I was with better people than you. Like, listen, when I'm in trouble, when I'm having a depressing time, I want to be around less people. No, not less people. Less obnoxious people. And I want to be around more famous people that I'm kind of banging. That are half my age. Sorry, nothing personal, okay?
Yeah. So Kyle's like, and also like my entire adult life, I've been married and it's been like really, really difficult and like painful. And like, like we were trying to like keep a brave face still for our kids at home. And like, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to like talk about it. And like, I know I don't want to like feel like I should be in trouble for that. I was like figuring it every day. I feel like I shouldn't be in trouble for it. Meanwhile, again, let's just bring back the footage of Kyle trying to make Denise feel shitty about whatever happened with Brandi Glanville.
Well, wait, what? How does that correlate?
Meaning that Kyle's like, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm in trouble for like making choices in my life when they made Denise feel like she was in trouble for the choices. Like, be open and honest. Why don't you be honest about it? Why don't you be honest,
Kyle?
Like, you're in the principal's office. Confess.
So Kyle's like, I'm just saying, like, I needed time. I needed time to be alone. She goes, but you weren't alone. You were with everybody. Here's an Instagram. Here's Kyle on a story I recorded on my... Yes! Having the time of my life! It's like water skiing. And here she is parachuting with Morgan on her back. Like, Kyle, get out of here. So she's like, but also, like, my whole life I've been married. And so, like, it's really hard figuring this out. And Andy's like, well, so do you and Kyle feel like you're better coming out of this reunion? And Kyle goes, I do. I mean, I definitely do. I definitely feel better. This was a lot better, right, Dorit? She's like, to be honest, I don't. We do have stuff to clear up for sure, but, it's going to have to be an alone time where you and I talk. To my voicemail, no, Kyle, at a lunch. On my voicemail, no, Kyle.
Still in my voicemail. So Andy is like, all right, we're going to go take a break. The bullet points didn't happen to read. The yawning did, though. And I'm just glad you said your piece, even though it was a very long-winded, occasionally rapping piece. All right, we'll be right back. So now they cut for break. And basically, we have a commercial break, I should say. I thought this was the part where Kathy was going to show up, but it's not. We're still far away. Andy's like, all right, we're back. So now it's time for an Erica segment where he's like, Erica gave up fighting for lead, but even with the new Vegas residency and lots of therapy, there were some grudges that she couldn't even give up on. So we see the whole Erica season of going at people, etc. And, Erica saying how she put in work to change her body and herself and her body and her mind and, like, however, if you fuck with her, she's going to...
I'm going to take you to hell with me, bitch. So he's like, wow, I have to say, Erica, good for you. Everybody loves a comeback. So congratulations on your redemption. Bet it all on blonde. So Sutton, you made a crack about Erica's prices being $7. That was pretty shitty. And she's like, well, I was actually coming to her defense because there was a guy who said, I think that her tickets are $1. And I said, wait, I heard that they're $7. I mean, that is 7 times 1, Andy. So it's much higher. And they're like, oh, Sutton, give me a fucking break. And Kyle's like, come on, Sutton, at least own it. Own it, Sutton. Come on, Sutton, own it.
Well, I mean, he asked the question. That's not what he means. And Sutton's like, well, I mean, do you have a sense of humor about you at all? I love Sutton being the one to ask that. Kyle's like, oh my God. And he's like, okay, all right, well, you say you're joking, but then you're also like saying like I was defending. So which one is it?
They're like, just say you were making a joke. She's like, I was making a joke. Okay, fine. So then, let's see. So, Erica, you announced you'd given up fighting for Lent, and you nearly made it through the whole 40 days. Oh, why did Denise, of all people, get a rise out of you? She's like, because she asked for it, that dumb bitch. And she's like, she looked for it. She came knocking at my door, Andy.
And Dorit's like, yes, she was looking for it, and she didn't find success the first time, so she had to come back a second time. Yeah, she had to come back. So Sutton's like, well, do you feel bad about it? Like a little bit for Denise, just a little bit.
And she's like,
absolutely not. Denise asked for that.
so then the next question is, Erica, you've been spotted out in Vegas with some old guy who looks like Rush Limbaugh. What's going on? Is that your sugar daddy? And then legal documents had revealed that he had allegedly sent you like $700,000. She goes,
oh, he's my private lawyer. He's my lawyer. That's my answer.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, your lawyer paid you. Because we all know lawyers love to pay people not receive money. All right, great. So, by the way, I wonder, like, have you held on to any friends that you had when you were Mrs. Tom Jordan? Did you have friends during that time, by the way? Because I don't think we've actually seen you with any friends outside of the people that you pay.
And she's like,
well, him. That's who, Rush.
and he's like, well, that's interesting because
There was a theory among viewers, and I think some of the group here, that you did not want to show empathy towards Tom's alleged victims because somehow it made you feel guilty.
she's like,
Oh, you know what it's like when you go through legal I mean, look, everyone here knows what it's like when your husband is accused of fucking over widows, orphans, and burn victims. Am I right? I mean, it's just a normal everyday thing, and so, they ask you to comment, not to comment either way. It's like, when you push so many other times you can't respond in the way that others think you should, then it makes you look like you don't have empathy.
oh, wow, that was a really long way around that. One of the first scenes of the season is of you literally not understanding what empathy even means. And that's not even an exaggeration.
What is empathy? So
she's like, Erica, it's when you put yourself in other people's shoes.
How do you do that?
Do I get to keep him?
How was the most, Eric? Do I get to keep them?
Do you still have the receipt for these shoes in case I want to take them back?
Yeah. So Andy is like, all right, but so I know that you met with a group of people and who were all victims at the. Talk to me about the meeting and why you did it. Well, under the advice of counsel is why I went, and I spoke to these women, and I thought it was important that they saw me as a person and not through the lens of a reality television show. Okay, and can you explain why? I cannot explain why I did it.
I cannot. Why not?
I cannot.
He's like, did you learn things from them?
Yes, I did. One of them being that one of my paychecks was in a client trust fund.
Well, what does that mean? Now, what is she alleging?
That money that was supposed to go to her was put towards clients or something. I guess she's suggesting that there was obviously gross financial misconduct, but also implying that, like, look, everyone's accusing me of taking money from the victims, but some of my money actually went to the clients.
This victim stole from me.
Here's what I found out. Guess what I am? A victim of guess who? The victims, those motherfuckers.
I was victimized by not just one Marco, but two Marcos. Marco!
No polo in sight.
So, Andy's like, so wait, it was the opposite of what people are accusing him of? And she goes,
No, I just, did I say that? Okay, listen, the trial's about to happen, and so I guess we'll have answers at the trial, which is, why did these burn victims victimize me? That's the real question, am I right? Can't wait to see that play out.
And Tom's been diagnosed with dementia, but he has been ruled competent to stand trial. And Crystal's like, I don't understand how that works. And Kyle's like, I don't understand it either, but I only read the headline. Maybe that's why. So Erica's like, well, I think that there's one thing that to be competent under the law, like, can you aid in your own defense? And then can your medical diagnosis, how long is it? I'm not sure. And Crystal's like, no, well, my dad had Alzheimer's, and so I work with the Alzheimer's Association, and the standard length of survival from diagnosis to end is 9 years. So at this rate, like, he should be pretty far along, and so for Tom to be able to stand trial right now seems strange to me. I mean, for me, I mean, when you see the footage of Tom Girardi these days, he definitely looks like he's down a path. But I always thought it was strange that, like, the moment this scandal broke, it was like, oh, and by the way, he was just diagnosed with this condition. I thought the timing of that, like, was very bizarre to me.
Yeah, and he's faking it.
Convenient. Yeah.
He's fucking faking it. And also, he looks a certain way because he's old as hell. I mean, he's really, really old, and he's been taken away from every luxury, and he's got to have massive depression, and like all the shit's fallen. Then he completely fell from grace. So he's not looking great. But yeah, this competency thing is a bunch of bullshit. Suddenly it's like, I'm incompetent. So yeah, that's pretty clearly fake. But here's the thing that I don't get. Why is that Erica's fault? A lot of this stuff, with Erica, the Marco thing especially, I'm like, burn her, get her alive. I'm like the town witch, But with some of this stuff, it's like, I don't know about coming after Erica for his faking it. I don't know how that's Erica's fault. But then Erica just doesn't know how to take a win. Because really all Erica had to do in this situation is go, I don't know. I don't talk to Tom anymore. The end, But instead, she's like,
well, I don't know what Crystal's saying. Is she saying that he's faking it? Because if she's saying that, just say it.
It's like, why are you defending Tom? Please stop. Yeah. Stop putting yourself in the position where it even seems like you're defending that fucking guy.
Yeah. I feel like if anything, that makes Erica look better to not defend Tom. Right.
Exactly. So, she can't help it, And so Crystal's like, well, I don't know if he's faking it, but we talked about it 4 years ago and he still seems to be kind of in the same place or whatever. So Andy's like, okay, well, we're going to take a little break. So then Garcelle turns to Crystal. She goes, oh, I know what you mean. Because for the way he was, for 4 years later, for him to be competent, what's up with that? And they're like, well, someone's lying. And she goes, so it's her, right? Wait, who says it's her? Crystal or her? One of them goes, so it must be her.
Right. I don't remember who said it must be her.
Yeah, one of them's like, someone's lying, so it's got to be her. So then Andy is like, so is Kathy making an entrance or are we starting with her? Like, does she have the same designer as Dorit tonight? Jesus Christ. How long do I have to wait today?
Everyone's like, Kathy? Wow. I'm like, well, so much for surprising the cast. So then we cut to Kathy arriving at the studios, and she's like, I don't really like having bad energy with Chumbawamba, and I think it's like really healing for her. And like Mauricio, Chumba and Mauricio were going in one way, and she's going another way, and they're just both trying to work. And he's dancing for 4 months on Dancing with the Stars, and I don't know. And Kyle doesn't. I don't know. She's not a compulsive person like that.
Yeah, she's like, she's not going to decide this right now, but she's just giving all the gossip from Kathy. Like, she doesn't give a shit. She's like, all right, just what do you want to know, everybody? So then we go back to the stage, and now is the magic mic moment. Dun, dun, dun. And so we see some Sutton stuff, like her bringing her ocean spray wherever she goes. And
commercials. Here comes one right now.
So Andy's like, so a lot of people called out what they perceived as hypocrisy. Reality TV universe said no one's buying Sutton's prude act. She had dollar bills to give people. She's like, well, listen, I didn't know it was going to be like that. And, did I overreact? Of course I did. They were like, what were you mad at? Sutton? She goes, I did not like the simulation of cunnilingus. Oh my God.
Yeah, but do you like it in real life? No, I'm just kidding. I just needed to know. But do you like it in real life? You don't like it. What's going on down there? And he's like, all right, well, leaving Las Vegas. Ha! That was a pun because of alcoholism. The elevator door opened, and Sutton, you were convinced the timing of the elevators was planned. How could you pull that off? And Sutton's like, I just don't know. I don't understand how witches do spells, but they do them anyway, okay? It just seemed suspect in that moment, and it was just this opportunity to humiliate me. And didn't she see what happened last night? I don't need anyone to humiliate me. I can do it for myself.
Now, I don't know how she pulled it off, but if I've ever known anybody who's going to pull things off, it's Erica.
I mean, I have to say, those elevator doors opened faster and wider than her legs. So it was, they might as well just start calling them Ericas instead of elevators.
First of all, I totally think Erica planned that. And of course, they can't control an elevator, but I think she said, you can come down now. We're going to the elevator. And then it happened to open on their floor. Or she was saying, we're going down now. We'll see. You can tell her off in the lobby. And they just got lucky and the doors open on that floor or whatever. But
maybe at the lobby.
Of course, I think Erica texted Mikey and said, okay, we're leaving now. Let's find a way to meet
elevators. I mean, like that would take like a true, like you have magical powers if you can coordinate those elevators, because I swear to God, I had a button at a casino elevator and you're waiting 15 minutes before those doors open up. So like being able to time
Well, I just mean they could have tried it. I think they probably planned on meeting in the lobby or something. That's why they happen to all be going down at the same time.
Mike and the downstairs were just going up and down that elevator for like 2 hours waiting. Hitting every button and just waiting for them to finally be
out. Said we're on our way there now, and then they hit the button on Erica's floor or something.
So anyway,
it's not important enough to really care about, but yeah, I don't think it's like crazy for her to be like, oh, well, now I'm getting told off by a Magic Mike person. Thanks a lot, Erica.
No, but I'm just thinking, I think it just would be funny because I can imagine Mike being like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do today. We're here to save Erica. So what we're going to do is we're going to ride this elevator and we're going to ride it hard. Everyone push all the buttons all at once. And we are here until we humiliate that bitch.
Every time the elevator opens on every floor, they're like, I'm disappointed in your reaction to Magic Mike. How dare you? This is a 5-year-old child. All right, let's try it again. Next floor. Next floor.
You can't come in this elevator. It's being used in production.
Okay, so Erica's like,
if I planned that elevator, I'd be a billionaire tonight.
Yeah. So,
you kidding? You've all seen my timing on stage. Think I could plan a fucking elevator? Can barely do a satay.
Dorit's like, Andy, it's impossible. So Kyle's like, I mean, you literally couldn't even plan that. So Andy's like, well, could it have all been avoided if you just come clean with the group that, like, hey, I'm just going through something. I was triggered by all this. And she goes, well, I think I did say that the next day, but I couldn't say what it was that I was going through.
So it was because the husband was moving to London and taking the child. And she's like, I want my whole marriage being dictated to. And he's like, but you're not married anymore. And she goes, yeah, but I was trained, Andy. I was trained. And they're like, wow, it was really difficult for Sutton. And she's like, and then I stood up for myself and I said, I am not moving to London. James is not moving to London. I'm opening the store for 2 days a week for the rest of my month at least.
And I'm going to bring stacks of dollar bills to random theaters in Las Vegas and with no intention of using them, and I'm going to hold on to them and then storm out of places because I'm an independent woman.
I have proven that I can still be furious about other people's simulated cunnilingus, and I will do what I want to.
Sutton was left, by the way, Sutton got off the hook in this part hugely. I mean, she came up with the whole story about like he was going to London and I was not going to go to London. We really got far away from the fact, like, you were jealous you did not get pulled up on stage, weren't you,
Yes.
Sutton?
Well, she's learned very quickly the Housewives or reality show thing trope, which is where when you're really in trouble, I mean, we're seeing it right now in Vanderpump Rules with the guy, so it's not that it's only just girls, but like when you get in trouble, bring up your trauma. No one can fucking argue with you when you've got your trauma. Now, Sutton is reaching for hers. Okay? Hers seems a little bit more pat than most people's trauma, but she still has learned it, and if it's like my horse hurt himself, she's gonna fucking use it, and it does work. They leave her alone.
And actually, because then Andy gets distracted because he also falls for the bait. He goes, it's funny. Over the years with many women, the show has actually given them a voice that maybe they didn't have before. And some might say the true reality reckoning is the emotional epiphanies that Bravo causes our cast members to have, and their lives are richer for it. Thank you. Case dismissed.
That's Bravo helping women every second of the day. Thank you all for being here.
And I want to speak to that for a second because, Kyle, you really hurt my feelings. You said all I have is cashmere and a horse. And I have so much more than cashmere. I've got silk. I've got linens. I've got wools.
I've got Alfie. I mean, technically... I've had him sign his life away. I mean, I basically own that person.
Jennifer Tilly. we've gone to Mood Fabrics and touched many things, and there's just
Kyle's
so much more than
rolling
cashmere.
her eyes. She goes, well, like you said, sometimes we say things just to make a little joke. Okay, so now it's okay, right? So Sutton's like, well, I'm telling you, it hurt my feelings, okay? And you also know that it's not true. I have more than cashmere. I have a store. that has been open Wednesdays and occasional Fridays.
During the Beverly Hills season. And then it is used as a pop-up for Carvel ice cream the rest of the year. And that is a journey I am on. Also, coincidentally, my store has been turned into a Journeys outlet.
And Kyle's basically like, look, okay, it's a reality show. We all say stuff, but like, what about the Uber driver? You don't want to talk about the Uber driver. And she's like, well, I'm not going to say that man's name on national television call. She's like, well, I don't want you thinking about the intricacies of my marriage when I haven't even told my children yet. Then stop asking everybody to ask you about it and stop bringing your fucking girlfriend on camera. You are so thirsty. I can't.
I mean, you took off your wedding ring and like we're...
Come on.
I mean,
doing
I'm sorry.
romantic tattoo scenes with Morgan Wade and then being like, what are people coming at me for when I haven't even told my children?
And he's like, well, we also found out, son, that your monthly alimony is $300,000. And we see this being outed on Watch What Happens Live, and he reveals it, and there's like 3 people in the audience like clapping. It's like Avi and Jennifer Tilly and like some Maud is clapping. It's like, yeah, well, some people applauded you, but others thought you were gloating. So, Anna Marie, you're still here. What do you think?
Oh my God, fucking Anna Marie. She's like, well, as a doctor, obviously. Okay.
By the way, I'm surprised Anna Marie did not come for Crystal when Crystal was talking about like the timeline of Alzheimer's.
Oh, you're right. I wonder if they just cut that out.
Who's the doctor now?
Yeah.
Go on,
Dr.
say
Bean.
something.
Yeah, this whole Anna Marie thing. She's like, well, I come from a world where you don't like brag about your wealth. Like, I'm like friends with extremely wealthy people, like super famous. Okay, so you're from a world where you don't brag about your wealth. You just brag about knowing really wealthy people. And you brag about being famous enough to know really famous people.
Very Taylor Armstrong. Very Taylor Armstrong. I know billionaires.
Bill, with a B.
Bill.
Yeah. Also, this is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They literally put price tags over their faces as they walk around. So can we all please get over someone gloating that they have money? That's what this show is about.
I didn't even pick up that Sutton was gloating. I thought the whole point of mentioning that she gets $300,000 a month was to say that for all her talk about she's doing things on her own, she's also getting $300,000 a month.
Right. So it was like they were kind of trying to put her in her place in a way.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, I'm from a world where you don't do that. So then Andy asked Kyle about her Amazon Live because she's like, I mean, you said that after watching back episodes, you had to take a break from Sutton because you saw how she was talking about you. And Kyle's like, well, I mean, any chance she got in interviews, she was like, this friendship is a farce, like I'm not doing that, Andy. I'm not doing it. And she's like, well, we did have an amazing, Sutton's like, well, we had an amazing conversation before that weed dinner. And then you walked in and turned it all around on me. It's like the second the cameras come on, and I'm not a good friend to you now. Okay. Well, the cameras came on and you weren't a good friend to me. Kyle.
Well, like, how do you expect me to be a good friend to you when you were like treating me like that in my own home? In my own home, my kids are upstairs, and you just kept telling me, talking to me, asking me if there was like a ring on my finger. It was like if it was like bought by Mauricio, And I love when Kyle's all of a sudden pulling there were children upstairs at her weed dinner where like, it's a dinner party in the Real Housewives. There's going to be squabbling and fighting.
I love that. Yeah, you're right. My children are upstairs while I'm having a party specifically geared towards getting fucked up.
I know. Babe Resnick is in the house, okay, and you're concerned about your children. So Sutton is like, well, I was telling you about Christian, and Kyle's like, well, because he cheated on me. It's always because he cheated on me. I never said that. That's exactly right. Garcelle said it because that was fine. Like, that was the conversation that you guys had. So now all of a sudden Kyle is offended by insinuations when before, like, insinuations are off the table.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about that?
Yeah.
5 hours ago?
Yeah. Oh, Oh, gosh. So
Okay.
they're squabbling over this stupid weed night thing. I'm still sticking by what I said. Kyle was trying to get everybody to ask her. The minute they asked her, she acted like the biggest victim ever. And I hope they stop falling into this trap of just like doing whatever storyline Kyle wants at Kyle's rate, because it's fucking obnoxious. So then Andy's like, okay, well, Sutton, it didn't go well. So what was going through your head in the kitchen that day? And Kyle's like, it started out fine. But then when we started to talk and she started that like, name him, I was like, okay, well, she seemed a little off, right? So that's why I commented, because like I really didn't know. I mean, I don't want to say drunk. I wouldn't say that. But, just not right, and by right, I mean sober. So is that calling her drunk? I mean, I don't know.
So, I got lost. Name him. Okay. So he's like, well, even Teddy weighed in when she came to Watch What Happens Live. Isn't that funny? I brought her back onto my show. So anyway, she comes out here drinking, and we have Teddy being like, hi, I'm Teddy. Well, it's pretty rich coming from Sutton, who has vodka in her purse 24/7.
Wow, I'm so shocked that Teddy would show up and do exactly what Kyle wants her to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's okay. Well, the lead singer of Berlin said, stop making fun of me. It all makes sense now why Teddy was implying that Sutton drinks on Watch What Happens Live. Teddy is doing Kyle's dirty work. Hey, that's what Ronnie just said.
It's 100% her dirty work. Kyle's like, what? Like, nobody, what? Oh, what? That's crazy. Like, doing my dirty work. Like, listen, I mean, like, are there things I could have said? Like, there are things that I could have said about Sutton that I did not say. So how about that? Okay? Because there's a lot worse than just being an alcoholic going on with Sutton. Okay? I was like, see, this is what you do. She comes on here and she's like, there's a way worse that Sutton's done, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm a good friend.
Well, I think that insinuating that I have a drinking problem and I'm an anorexic and that I've made up my foot problem and that I take pills, those are all bad. I never said those things. I didn't say any of those things. Not a single one. And Erica's like, yeah, but you do take pills for your neuropathy. And Kyle's like, guys, did I say any of those things? We all know I had Anna Maria say it for me. Okay? I never said it, though.
And Erica's like, Sutton's like, okay, you insinuate. And she goes, I didn't insinuate anything. And she's like, well, it's understanding your responsibility in this insinuation, Kyle. You've got to understand this at some point, Kyle.
You have been relentlessly mean to me. Where? It's not as good as name him, Kyle. Not as good as name him.
As Denise would say, watch the show. Which I love that they have finally cast. I don't think Sutton was right this whole reunion, but really for me, it's not about right and wrong. It's the fact that Dorit could end all of this by saying, that girl's gotten more press than a keypad. Just kidding. Had to get one more rap thing in there. But for me is that they finally cast someone who doesn't give a fuck about what Kyle thinks and will go up against her. I love that Garcelle and Sutton do not give a fuck. Kyle has had this hold on people for seasons. I mean, there are people that don't give a fuck, but they get fired immediately, right? When they go up against Kyle. And these two aren't, and they don't care. Like, they're like, okay, you want us to bring up your stupid marriage thing? We'll bring it up. And then she's like, don't you feel guilty? And they're like, not really. Not really.
I agree. It's nice to have people who are willing to like push back at what Kyle says, but I want them to push back more effectively. Now I'm like, you're on the right path. Now say everything that the two of us are saying to her. Please, thank you. You're doing a good job. Now see it through.
I think they don't really care about Kyle's storyline, and that's where they fell down because Kyle keeps trying to get them to care, and they just don't care. They're like, okay, you want us to make a comment about it? Okay, we're talking about the ring. Well, what do you mean? Why are you talking about the ring? Because it's a cheating ring. We were asking if it's a cheat. Well, what do you mean if it's a cheating ring? Because the husband buys a gift when he cheats. Well, what do you mean the husband? They're just like so bored with it, you know? Garcelle's like, everything that we're insinuating is so obvious, and you're such a bore that you can't even have this discussion without fake crying like a teenager, you know? I think that's where they fall.
I would love it if they could maybe bring Alexia on to the next part of the reunion so she could say, well, you're not wearing the ring. So, like, that means obviously there's issues at home. And, like, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. And if you say anything else, you're a liar. You're a liar. Okay? Because I'm a star. I know these things. I just want, like, someone from Miami to be on this show. We used to always say, God, imagine if someone from Real Housewives of New York was on this show. They would just call out this bullshit right away, which they still would do. But Miami now has taken up the mantle. Maybe even New Jersey, too. And Potomac. A lot of the shows, actually. But I would just love anyone to just come in and just really lay into Kyle. Because
I would like someone to bring the racket like Venus and Serena. All right, Doreen. All right. Please stop rapping. It's cringe now.
Just call me D dollar sign. Drop it like it's PK. Drop it like it's PK.
All right. Well, next week we're going to come back and talk about Kyle and Morgan finally in the very last 30 seconds of the show. Indy, I'm not gay. I just want to boogie to some Marvin. All right. Roll the clip. Roll the credits.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned. We'll have Summer House up tomorrow. It's a good one. And then also, because you can never get enough Beverly Hills content, we're going to have a very fun recap of the Eric Bennett All on Blonde thing, which will be very hilarious to make fun of. So keep an eye and ear out for that on our Patreon, and we will talk to you. And remember, Miami's going to be on Monday. So that's where that is, if you're wondering. So we will catch you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Stroll in the park with Caitlin Clark.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Itchels. Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. She's never scary, it's the Green Fairy. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
She's the wind beneath our Jennifer Wing.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's always supplying, it's Kelly Ryan.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. We want to hang with Liz Lang. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She's quite the catch. It's Victoria Cotchett.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.
Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Watch What Crappens ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the Amazon Music app today. Or you can listen ad-free with Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts. Before you go, tell us about yourself by completing a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.